I married him quickly. We met exactly 100 days ago. A whirlwind romance, passionate and intoxicating. Gabe swept me off my feet with candlelit dinners, spontaneous weekend getaways, and whispered promises under the moonlight. Then, one evening, he got down on one knee. I should have been hesitant. We barely knew each other. But when he slipped the ring onto my finger, I said yes without a second thought. Now, here we were, floating in the middle of the ocean on a luxurious private yacht, basking in the glow of our honeymoon. Just the two of us. Gabe poured another glass of wine, his fingers grazing mine as he handed it over.
To us.
I smiled and clinked my glass against his. We talked for hours, about dreams, childhood memories, random stories about life. His laughter was warm, his gaze full of love. Then, as the conversation lulled, he leaned in.
You know, we should talk about finances.
He said casually. I tilted my head. Why?
Well, we're married now. We should be open about everything, right?
That made sense. Couples should share everything. Bank accounts, properties, even insurance policies. Still, something about the way he asked made my stomach twist. He reached for my hand.
Do you have life insurance?
I hesitated, just for a second. Then, I answered. Of course I did. I had a sizable policy from my job. A good one. Gabe pulled out his phone and looked up insurance details. His thumb traced slow, deliberate circles on my wrist.
That's a wise choice. I'd hate for anything to happen to you.
I laughed nervously, brushing it off. Love is trust, right? That night, I expected our first night together as husband and wife to be passionate. But after dinner, after another glass of wine, my eyelids grew unbearably heavy. I barely remembered climbing into bed. The gentle rocking of the yacht should have lulled me into a peaceful sleep. But instead, I felt like I was sinking. I could hear Gabe's voice in my ear.
Sleep tight, my love.
Then, nothing. I woke up groggy. My limbs were heavy, my head foggy, as if I had run a marathon in my sleep. Gabe was already up, preparing the diving gear.
Good morning, sleepyhead. Are you ready for our first dive together?
I hesitated. I had never gone diving before. The thought of being deep underwater, where the surface was just a distant shimmer, made me uneasy. But Gabe was so excited, and I wanted to be the wife he deserved. I guess, I said, forcing a smile. He beamed.
Don't worry, I'll be right behind you.
There was no diving instructor, no one else on board, just us. Don't we have a diving instructor?
I wanted this moment to be just ours.
That should have made me feel special. Instead, I felt a strange, creeping sense of unease. But love is trust, right? As I turned away to change into my wetsuit, I caught a glimpse of Gabe out of the corner of my eye. He was messing with the oxygen tank. I froze. What are you doing? He glanced up, his expression smooth, calm.
Your tank had a leak. I'm switching it out for another one.
I nodded slowly. It made sense, didn't it? Maybe I was just overthinking things. The moment we plunged into the water, all my fears melted away. The world below was breathtaking. Schools of fish swirled around us in shimmering clouds. Coral reefs stretched endlessly, swaying gently with the current. It was like an alien world, untouched, silent, beautiful. Gabe swam beside me, watching me with a smile behind his mask. For the first time since waking up, I felt safe. Then, without warning, he reached behind me and unfastened my oxygen tank. It took me a second to realize what had happened. One moment, I was breathing. The next, nothing. Panic surged through me. I clawed at my regulator, desperate to shove it back into my mouth. But my fingers fumbled. My lungs screamed for air. Gabe just hovered there, watching me. Waiting. He wasn't going to save me. He had been planning this. I lunged at him, grabbing his wetsuit, my nails digging into his arms, but he twisted away faster than me, stronger. I kicked, trying to chase him, but my body was slowing down. Oxygen deprivation. Black spots bloomed in my vision. My arms felt like lead. Gabe was swimming backward, watching me struggle. His eyes held no love, no regret, just cold detachment. Then he turned and swam away, fading light. I reached out for him, my fingers grazing the water where he had been. I kicked, I thrashed, I tried to move toward the surface, but I was sinking. I should have waited longer. I should have taken my time, should have questioned the man who loved me too fast, too intensely. But love makes us blind. The sunlight above me grew fainter, more distant. Gabe was gone, and I was alone. I had always envied those Instagram models with their big, sparkling eyes. The way their gaze seemed to captivate anyone, it was mesmerizing. So when I got the chance to try colored contact lenses, I leapt at it. It was my first time, and I'll admit, the idea of touching my eyeball made me queasy. But for beauty, I could bear it. Standing in front of the mirror, I practiced holding my eyelid open, the small lens perched delicately on my fingertip. My first attempt failed. My reflexes forced my eyelid shut. "You can do this," I whispered to my reflection. After several tries, the lens finally slipped into place. I blinked rapidly, tears streaming down my face, but when I opened my eyes, I gasped. My reflection stared back with eyes that looked impossibly larger and brighter. The dull brown of my irises was replaced with a vibrant blue, shimmering like glass. I couldn't help but smile. This was worth it. That evening, I went out with my crush. His gaze lingered on me longer than usual, and my confidence soared. He even complimented my eyes, something no one had ever done before. We laughed, drank, and talked for hours. I felt like the center of his world. By the time I stumbled home, tipsy and giddy, I was too exhausted to think about anything. I collapsed onto my bed, still wearing my makeup and my lenses. Morning came like a sledgehammer. My head pounded, my mouth was dry, and my eyes, they ached. Groggy, I stumbled into the bathroom. The harsh light made me squint, and I rubbed my eyes only for a sharp, gritty sensation to shoot through them. The lenses! I had forgotten to take them out. Looking in the mirror, I froze. My left eye was fine, but the right one looked wrong. The lens had shifted, partially obscuring my pupil. It gave the eerie illusion that I had two pupils in one eye. Great, I muttered. I grabbed the bottle of eye drops and tilted my head back, squeezing a generous amount into my right eye. The cool liquid was a temporary relief, and I reached up, trying to pinch the lens out. But it wouldn't budge. It felt slippery under my fingers, sliding further to the side each time I tried to grab it. My eye throbbed as I poked and prodded, desperate to dislodge it. "Come on!" I hissed, tears streaming down my face. Instead of coming out, the lens seemed to retreat, slipping deeper under my eyelid. Panic set in as my vision in that eye blurred. The skin around it felt swollen, and a dull, radiating pain started to build. By noon, the entire area was red and puffy. My eye burned, and each blink felt like scraping sandpaper. Defeated, I called an eye doctor. The clinic smelled like antiseptic, and the harsh fluorescent lights made my migraine worse. The doctor's calm demeanor did little to soothe my nerves.
"You've got quite a bit of swelling,"
he said after examining my eye.
"I'll try to remove the lens, but you might need more extensive treatment if it's embedded too deeply."
His words sent a shiver down my spine. Embedded? I sat rigid as he used a specialized tool to extract the lens from my left eye. Relief washed over me as the first lens came out, but then his frown deepened.
"Well,"
the doctor said after a few minutes.
"I managed to retrieve one lens."
He held up the tiny, translucent piece of plastic, now smeared with redness.
"But the other one, it's deep. We'll need more advanced tools to get it out."
My stomach dropped. Isn't there another way? Something less invasive? He shook his head.
Leaving it in can lead to severe infection or even permanent damage. I strongly recommend we proceed.
The words permanent damage echoed in my mind, but so did the thought of medical bills. I had seen people online remove lenses themselves. If they could do it, so could I. Thank you, doctor, I mumbled, grabbing my bag. I'll think about it. Back home, I sat in front of my mirror, armed with a pair of tweezers and determination. My right eye was almost swollen shut, but I pried it open, wincing as fresh tears streamed down. I carefully inserted the tweezers, trying to grab the edge of the lens. Every touch sent waves of pain through my skull, but I couldn't stop. The discomfort only fueled my desperation. Just a little more, I muttered, my voice trembling. The tweezers slipped, scraping against the sensitive surface of my eye. A sharp pain made me cry out, but I kept going. My hands were slick with sweat, my vision blurred from the constant flow of tears. Or was it blood? Finally, I felt the edge of the lens. I pulled and it slid free with a sickening squelch. Triumph was short-lived. When I looked down at my hand, my stomach churned. The lens wasn't alone. Attached to it was something round, fleshy and glistening. A bulbous lump of tissue hung limply from the tweezers. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest. My right eye was gone. In its place was a dark, gaping socket, raw and glistening with blood. It was as if my entire eye had been pulled out along with the lens. No! No, no, no! I dropped the eye in panic. Dropping to my knees, I searched frantically for my dislodged eye. I glanced around, searching for the eye I had dropped, but the dim light played tricks on me, casting shadows that made my stomach churn. Where was it? My fingers skimmed the cold tiles until they brushed against something round and slick. I grabbed it, holding it tightly in my palm. I had to fix it. Maybe if I put it back quickly, it wouldn't be too late.
This is a slander!
I am Zahn, a drone among the hive, a servant to the queen and protector of our cycle. Yet today, I question everything I have ever known. It began with a film, a human artifact, an insidious weapon disguised as storytelling. The humans called it alien. They had captured footage of us, our forms, our methods, and our survival.
See what they think of us. Learn their deceit.
The screen glowed. Scenes of violence unfolded, our kind bursting forth from their frail chests, their screams reverberating through the chambers. They called us monsters, parasites, invaders. The narrative was clear. They feared us, loathed us, and most chillingly, were preparing to eradicate us.
They plan to weaponize against us, to turn our own biology against us.
The thought sent a chill down my exoskeleton. Humans had conceived a grotesque revenge, using our bodies as hosts for their own infestation. A horrifying reversal of our sacred cycle. The Queen declared war. She would not allow our perfection to be tarnished, our legacy trampled by such fragile, chaotic beings. Yet as the hive roared in agreement, I remained silent. Later, in the solitude of my alcove, I replayed the film's imagery. The agony of the xenomorph on the screen, the human writhing its way out. It haunted me. I could almost feel the searing pain, the unnatural violation of the cycle. Why did the humans hate us so? Were they so blind to their own violence that they couldn't see their actions mirrored in ours? For the first time, I felt something foreign. Empathy, the pain, the violation. Was this how the humans felt as we seeded them? Their fear, their screams. It was not so different from what I imagined in that moment. When I approached the Queen, my claws trembled with trepidation. "We should negotiate," I said, my voice low. "Their fear drives them. Perhaps we can stop this before more blood is shed." Her massive form turned toward me, a glistening skull tilting in a silent challenge. The hive murmured in disbelief.
Negotiate? With prey?
Her voice was a venomous hiss. "With equals," I dared to reply. The silence that followed was suffocating. Yet after a long moment, she relented.
Very well, Zarn. You will go as our emissary. But make no mistake, if you fail, war will follow.
I was to lead a small group to the human world, to negotiate where no other drone had dared. My chest swelled with determination. I would bridge the divide between our species. We arrived on the human world under a veil of caution, my team moving silently through their metal constructs. The humans were fragile, soft, yet clever. Their fear was palpable, and I could feel their weapons trained on us even if they remained unseen. I began the negotiation, my words clicking and hissing through the translation device we had scavenged. The humans listened, their expressions inscrutable. But they treated us well, gave us private rooms to rest and eat. For a brief moment, I thought peace might be possible. Then the attack came. A sharp sting pierced the base of my spine. My limbs grew heavy, my vision blurred, and darkness consumed me. The last thing I saw was a human holding a needle-like device, its tip gleaming with ichor. I woke with a start, the memory of the ambush lingering like a bitter taste. My body felt strange but intact. Had it been a dream? A fabrication of my overworked mind? My team gathered around me, their concern evident. To reassure them, and myself, I joined them for nourishment. The food was bitter, but it steadied me. For a moment, I almost believed everything was normal. Then it began. A cough racked my body, sharp and violent. My claws scraped at the table as I doubled over. My team surrounded me, their clicks urgent with alarm.
Zarn, what is wrong?
I couldn't answer. Pain lanced through my abdomen, a searing, unnatural agony. Something was moving inside me. They laid me on a table, their clicks frantic with concern. My limbs thrashed as the thing inside me shifted, writhing with unnatural intent. I clawed at my own chest, desperate to stop the growing pressure. It surged upward, twisting, tearing. Then, with a sickening crack, my chest exploded. I let out a guttural scream as a human, pale, pink and glistening, erupted from my chest, drenched in my ichor. The room fell silent. Then chaos erupted. The hive recoiled in horror.
It's inside him!
One of them hissed. The human let out a guttural cry, its fragile limbs trembling as it stood. My vision blurred, the pain overwhelming. My body felt hollow, violated. And still I watched. The hive erupted into chaos. My team grabbed their weapons, their rage a tangible force. The human, impossibly small yet unyielding, dodged their strikes, darting through the shadows like a spectre. I lay on the table, my strength fading, my ichor pooling beneath me. Yet my mind was alight with realization. This was their plan all along. Not just to kill us, but to become us, to corrupt the cycle itself. I struggled to rise, my claws trembling as I grabbed a communicator. "Report. To the Queen," I rasped, my voice a fractured whisper. "Prepare the hive. For war." Through the haze of pain, I watched as my team clashed with the human. Their movements were mirror images, their violence indistinguishable. It was then I understood the terrible truth. We and the humans were not so different, both bound by instinct, both trapped in cycles of destruction. This was no longer about survival, it was about annihilation. The war would come, and it would consume us all, and in the end, neither species would win, only violence would remain, echoing through the stars. When I first started working at La Belle Cuisine, I thought I had a chance to prove myself in the world of high-end culinary arts. But dreams have a way of souring in the harsh reality of kitchen life. Instead of plating delicate entrees or learning the secrets of fine sauces, I found myself relegated to gorying task, peeling mountains of potatoes. The kitchen's damp environment seeped into my skin, turning it rough, scabbed, and unrecognizable. Chef Laurent was the worst. His booming voice echoed through the kitchen, barking orders and criticisms with no regard for who was in his path. I was his favorite target.
"Paul!"
He bellowed one afternoon, slamming a wooden spoon on the counter.
"Even a monkey could peel faster than you. Are your hands broken?"
The other cooks laughed. My cheeks burned, but I kept my head down, fingers trembling as I worked the peeler. Every day was the same. The final straw came during a staff tasting. I'd spent weeks experimenting with recipes after hours, crafting a dish I hoped would finally earn me some recognition. When Laurent announced a tasting session, I seized the opportunity and presented my creation, foie gras. Laurent took one bite and spat into the dish.
"Garbage,"
he declared.
"Stick to peeling potatoes. That's all you're good for."
Laughter erupted again, louder this time. My vision blurred with tears, but I swallowed them back. I smiled and nodded, but inside, something cracked. That night, alone in the kitchen, I stared at the pile of peelings I'd left unfinished. The steel glint of the peeler caught my eye, and my reflection stared back, warped and jagged. Then Laurent's voice echoed in my head.
"Stick to peeling."
I'd been slaving for months, bending over backward for Laurent, only to be humiliated time and time again. If all he saw in me was someone to scrape and discard, maybe I'd give him exactly that. I threw myself into peeling, my knife flashing through tuber after tuber, sweat dripping from my brow onto the growing mound of mashed potatoes. My hands, calloused from relentless labor, began to ache. Without realizing it, the blade slipped, slicing through one of the hardened calluses on my palm. The sliver of skin fell onto the pile of potatoes, almost indistinguishable from the starchy flesh. I froze, staring at the tiny piece of myself nestled among the mash. An idea took root in my mind, grotesque yet irresistible. What if? Driven by exhaustion and a twisted sense of rebellion, I picked up the peeler. Slowly, deliberately, I shaved off another patch of rough skin. The pain was sharp but fleeting, and the satisfaction of reclaiming control was exhilarating. I examined it, transfixed. It was almost poetic, the way my own body could be reduced to nothing but scraps, just like the potatoes, just like Laurent wanted. I mixed the pieces into the mash, seasoning it with salt, pepper, and herbs. The next day, the dish was a hit. Customers raved about the unique depth of the mashed potatoes, praising Laurent for his ingenuity. He basked in the accolades, his chest puffed out with pride, while I stood in the shadows, silently savoring my secret. But the praise didn't change my position. Laurent continued to belittle me, taking full credit for the dishes I prepared. Oddly though, I no longer felt humiliated when peeling potatoes. That night, I stood in front of the mirror, peeling tool in hand. The first time had been an act of rage, but now it felt like power. The kitchen became my domain of transformation. My worsening skin condition provided ample material to mix into the potatoes. Scabs, patches of dry skin, even the occasional drop of blood, all found their way into the mash. With each strip of skin I removed, I felt lighter, freer. I was no longer just Paul, the potato peeler, the kitchen grunt. I'd gather the strips, mix them into the batch of mashed potatoes. I was the secret ingredient, the thing that made their meals unforgettable. The restaurant's reputation soared. Laurent basked in the glory, oblivious to the true source of his newfound success. But my body didn't heal the way I expected. Where I'd peeled, the skin didn't grow back. Instead, strange, pale patches emerged, soft and glistening like raw fish. The pain became a constant hum, but it didn't matter. The dishes were all that mattered. Then, one night, as I prepared another dish, Laurent burst into the kitchen, red-faced.
What is this?
He demanded, slamming a bowl onto the counter. I froze. The broth shimmered with an oily sheen, and tiny pale fragments floated to the surface, pieces I hadn't chopped finely enough.
Explain yourself!
He roared, grabbing my arm. His grip tightened, pulling up my sleeve. The bandages unraveled, revealing the patchwork of raw flesh beneath. His eyes widened in horror.
What have you done?
He whispered, his voice barely audible over the pounding of my heart. I smiled, the first genuine smile I'd felt in months. I've been giving you what you wanted, chef. A piece of me in every dish. Laurent stumbled back, clutching his stomach. His face turned pale as the realization hit. The critic, the patrons, the accolades, all built on the foundation of my sacrifice. He retched, the sound echoing through the silent kitchen. I turned back to the cutting board, the peeler gleaming under the fluorescent lights. There was still so much more to give.
I never thought there was anything wrong with the way I loved him. While others called it obsession or delusion, I saw it as something pure, devotion. Not just the kind that cheers in crowds or collects photo cards, but the kind that longs to know everything, the kind that wants to get close. Minjae had always been the perfect idol. His voice was soft, his eyes tender, and the way he smiled at his fans made you feel like you mattered. I clung to that illusion, because to me, it was never an illusion. I believed, truly believed, that if I stayed close enough, watched long enough, loved him hard enough, he would see me. The distance between us would dissolve. That's why I became a Sasaeng. Not to hurt him, not to cross some moral line. I only wanted to be someone who knew him better than anyone else. I wanted to slip between the folds of his public life and settle into the spaces where no one else had reached. At the fan meeting, I handed him the gift I made, a soft white teddy bear, stitched carefully by hand. He smiled as he took it from me, eyes crinkling the way they always did when he wanted to seem sincere. I know you collect bears. I made this one myself, just for you. He thanked me, unaware that hidden just beneath the bear's eyes was a small, silent camera, one that would quietly reveal the life I longed to be a part of. After that, I watched him every night. The bear sat neatly on a shelf in his living room, among dozens of others. But mine always faced the center. Through that tiny lens, I saw fragments of his private world. Minjay entering his apartment, setting down his bag, stretching his arms with a tired sigh. He'd hum sometimes, pour a drink, say a few soft words on the phone before slipping into silence again. And I watched, eyes wide, heart full. I would fall asleep to the sound of his voice echoing through my speakers, my dreams warm and filled with the illusion of proximity. Then, one day, a message appeared in the group chat. Minjay was filming out of town and wouldn't return until late. My breath caught. His apartment would be empty for hours. I didn't even hesitate. I had memorized the building's security code from his hand movements, seen through the bear's lens. That night, I stood outside his door, my heart pounding, the hum of the hallway lights buzzing in my ears. I pressed the code. The lock clicked open. The air inside his home was clean. Detergent, citrus, cologne. I stepped in slowly, almost reverently. Everything was exactly as I imagined it. His shoes lined neatly, the soft creak of wood beneath my feet, the faint humming of the fridge. The teddy bear I made was still there, but the others surrounding it looked wrong up close. Their fur wasn't consistent. Some had patches of different colors, stitched together in uneven seams. One had what looked like strands of real hair woven above its ear. A chill touched my spine, but I told myself not to overthink. Everyone has strange habits. What mattered was that my bear was still intact, still watching. I opened the fridge, rearranged his drinks, left a bottle of his favorite yogurt. I touched his coats, pressed my face into his scarves. In the bathroom, I painted our names on the mirror using red lipstick. Yuri plus Minjay, with a little heart drawn beside it. And then I slipped into his bed. The sheets were cool and soft. For a while, I lay there quietly, imagining a version of life where this was normal, where I belonged here. Before I left, I slipped a small hand-stitched doll under the bed, a charm made to bind us together, to make him love me the way I loved him. Then I heard the door open. My breath caught. He wasn't supposed to be home yet, but instead of panic, I felt a strange rush. He was here. I would see him just for a moment, and then I'd go. I crept into the wardrobe and pulled the door almost closed, crouching low behind his clothes. Through the narrow slit, I saw him enter the bedroom. I felt my heart bloom. He liked it. He brought it with him. But then calmly, he reached under his pillow and pulled out a knife. Before I could react, he stabbed the bear, ripped it open. His fingers dug into the stuffing and pulled out the camera. He held it up to the light, studying it. Then he said,
"You're the one who gave me this at the fan meeting, aren't you?"
I froze. He poured himself a glass of wine, swirling it gently, and walked slowly across the room.
"I've always known someone was watching.
He said, eyes glancing toward the wardrobe.
It's a lovely feeling, being desired like that."
He walked straight to the wardrobe and pulled the door open. I didn't even get the chance to scream before everything slipped away, the world fading to black without a sound. When I woke, my arms and legs were bound to a metal chair. The room was cold and dim, the air thick with the stench of rot. I blinked slowly as my vision cleared, and then I saw them. Lining the shelves were teddy bears, but these weren't stitched from fabric. Their patchwork skin was unmistakably human, with strands of real hair still clinging to some of their heads. Blood had dried into the seams. The stitching was crude, careless. In front of me, a glass table held small parts, fingernails, teeth, clumps of hair. scraps of stained fabric. Folders were stacked beside them, each with photos of girls I recognized from online. Other fans like me, all of them missing. And then I heard his voice, soft and close behind me. Minjae stepped into the light, a scalpel glinting in his hand as he smiled gently, almost tenderly. Behind him, the wall was covered in Polaroids, Minjae smiling beside dozens of girls. But their eyes were empty, their faces lifeless. Blood-red hearts were drawn around some of them, crude and dripping. I screamed at him, called him a monster, told him he was fake. He only laughed.
The version of me you adored, that's just a character. Something the company built. But you wanted to know the real me. Isn't that why you watched?
He crouched down beside me and gently touched the cut on the back of my hand. Then slowly, he leaned in and licked the blood. And I finally understood. Minjae was never the one being watched. He wanted to be watched. He craved it. He fed off it. We weren't obsessed with him. He was obsessed with us. And now I was part of his collection. Forever.
I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat, hands clutching my throat like I was choking. It was just a dream. That's what I kept telling myself. But the pain in my neck felt real, like something had been stretched, like I had been hanged and survived. In the dream, my neck had stretched, impossibly long, like an eel gliding through the dark. I floated weightless, led by my own head through the night, past sliding doors and into the garden. That's where I saw them. My husband and a girl, no older than 20. She giggled at something he whispered. He brushed her cheek the way he used to brush mine. And then they kissed, bold and unashamed. Except I was there, or at least my head was. And when he noticed it, my face, my floating head, he screamed and swung his katana. A blur of silver flashed, and I woke up. I sat there, knees drawn to my chest, watching him sleep. His breath was slow, steady, undisturbed, like he hadn't just appeared in my nightmare with another woman. The image still burned behind my eyes. A nightmare, I told myself. A trick of the mind. But deep down, I knew better. That wasn't a dream, it was a warning. In the days that followed, I began to see it. The scent of strange incense on his robes, not the kind I burned for the altar or wore on my sleeves. It lingered, delicate and wrong. One evening, folding his inner kimono, I noticed a faint red smear along the collar. At first, I thought it was crushed plum blossom, but when I touched it, it smeared Benny, lip dye, the kind worn by young courtesans. He laughed when I asked.
Probably from the crowd by the river. Some drunk girl stumbled too close.
But I knew. No one touches a magistrate's robes, not by accident. When I confronted him, he smiled. Not with guilt, but with calm dismissal.
Your mind is too wild. You'll drive yourself mad with superstition. You'll make yourself sick.
Later, I overheard him whispering to his mother, saying I was losing my balance, that I might need rest. She pulled me aside in the garden days later, her hand cold on my wrist.
You mustn't let jealousy consume you. Wear your crimson kimono again. Put on makeup the way he used to like.
I wanted to scream. I wanted to tear my head from my shoulders and fling it at the wall. But I didn't. I bowed. I smiled. I poured tea like a good wife. And every night I dreamed of my neck growing longer, slithering through darkness, creeping toward truth. No one believed me. Not the other women at the market, not the shrine maiden I sought for advice. They all spun the same tale, that I was unstable, that I was unraveling. And he was the victim of a clingy, insecure wife. Then came the night. He was unusually tender. He brought me tea himself, said it was a calming blend from Kyoto.
For your nerves.
He smiled. I should have known. The taste was bitter, unfamiliar, but I drank it anyway, because I still wanted to believe him. I collapsed near the hallway, and from the corner of my fading vision, I saw him, standing over me, watching. Then, darkness. When I awoke, I couldn't move. My arms hung useless, my throat burned. From rope. He had strung me up from the ceiling beam. My body swayed gently, helplessly. I could hear him moving in the other room, opening jars, striking flint. The scent of lantern oil filled the air. He was setting the house on fire. The flames moved quickly, licking through the shoji walls, devouring everything we built. Smoke poured in, thick and choking. My lungs heaved, but the noose bit deeper. I should have died, but I didn't. Not yet. In that moment between fire and breath, I felt something rise in me. A pull, a pressure. My spine cracked, my throat expanded, my neck stretched. It didn't stop, longer and longer. Until my feet touched the floor again, though I still hung. Until the rope no longer choked me, only the memory of it. Drifting upward, my neck snaking through the fire like a silk banner of death. I slipped out of the burning frame, silent and weightless, into the cold night. Later, the neighbors whispered. They said they saw something rise from the fire. A woman's head, a twisting neck, a floating curse. They gave it a name, Rokurakubi. I became a breath beneath the door, a shadow above the futon, a nightmare woven into tatami. I whispered to unfaithful men. I curled my neck through their walls. I watched them shatter one by one. But the man I was looking for, he had vanished. Until that night, I found him in a new town, a new house, a new wife, pregnant. He still wore that smug, gentle face, the one he used when lying, when controlling. He had rebuilt his life. But I had not forgotten. That night, I slipped through the floorboards of their home. She lay asleep beside him, her belly full. He snored softly, unaware. I hovered above him, my neck stretched like a vine, my face inches from his. His eyes opened, and he screamed. He lunged for the katana beneath the futon, the same katana he once threatened me with in silence. He swung, steel met phantom flesh. My head fell to the tatami with a soft thud. Then it turned and smiled, because you cannot kill what you've already murdered. The woman stirred beside him.
What's happening?
My neck began to coil. Around his legs, his waist, his arms, his throat. It slithered tight and then it rotted. Flesh decayed on contact, black veins blooming beneath his skin. His body shuddered. The face on the floor, mine, began to crack. The eyes clouded, the skin peeled. The mouth opened. I looked at them both, his frozen terror, her rising scream, and whispered, "I will always come back, because my neck still stretches, and the longer it grows, the closer I get, and you cannot escape your karma."
Life felt like a luxurious dream, each whim effortlessly satisfied by the wealthy men, enchanted by my youthful charm and beauty. Being a sugar baby had its perks: exclusive apartments, designer dresses, first-class vacations, and extravagant gifts. I was admired, pampered, and envied. And whenever a patron failed to fulfill my increasingly lavish desires, I moved swiftly and effortlessly onto the next, my heart untouched, my conscience clear. This time, my target was Kurt, a celebrated fabric collage artist, renowned for transforming simple cloth into mesmerizing works of art. He was a man whose immense wealth far surpassed that of anyone I had ever been with. But more than just buying me expensive things, he spoke to me as if I was something rare, something precious.
"Jess, you're my muse. I want to show you something no one else has seen. My sanctuary. Come with me to Paradise Island."
The name itself thrilled me. I imagined private beaches, candlelit dinners, a sun-soaked villa filled with art and opulence. Giddy, I told my best friend about it that same night. Her reaction, however, was not what I expected. She asked, her voice hushed,
"Are you sure this is a good idea? I've heard weird things about Kurt. Girls who dated him before. They just disappeared, deleted their socials, cut off everyone."
I laughed it off. Who wouldn't want to disappear from social media when they're actually living it up in some lavish mansion? Ignoring my best friend's warnings, I decided to go with Kurt. The yacht ride to the island filled me with anticipation. And when we finally arrived, I was left almost speechless. The lavish old mansion rose majestically from the lush greenery, like something pulled straight from a dream. It was beyond anything I had imagined. I didn't see the way Kurt watched me from behind, not with affection, but with something colder, more calculating. Inside, the mansion was filled with fabric portraits, hundreds of them, each one a depiction of a woman, crafted from layers of different textiles that somehow captured the unique beauty of every face. They looked startlingly lifelike. I had no idea what kind of fabric Kurt used, but it looked uncannily like real skin. Drawn by curiosity, I stepped closer to one of the pieces and instinctively reached out to touch it.
"Please don't. They're very special to me."
I lowered my hand, offering a polite smile. They're stunning. They almost look real.
"That's because they are."
I assumed he meant emotionally real, artistically compelling. I didn't question it. The first few days were bliss. Sunbathing, drinking wine on the terrace, long conversations about beauty and inspiration. But then, little things began to unsettle me. While swimming in the pool, I spotted an earring lying at the bottom, delicate, old-fashioned, and completely out of place. At night, I heard tapping on my window, and once when I pulled back the curtains, there was the faint imprint of a hand, smeared and ghostly, pressed against the glass. In the bathroom, the water sometimes ran black for a second before turning clear again. I told Kurt. He smiled calmly.
"Old plumbing, tropical animals. Nothing to worry about."
But I was worried, more than worried. I wanted to leave.
Just let me finish your portrait. One more day. Then I'll take you back.
That night, I dreamed of a woman crawling toward me on all fours, her body twisted, her face missing. She whispered something that chilled me even in sleep.
Get out before he gets you too!
I woke up in a cold sweat and packed my bags. I didn't care about the painting or the promise of paradise anymore. I just wanted out. Everything felt terrifying. Nothing about this place was normal. As I crept through the darkened hallway, the portraits on the walls seemed different. Their eyes followed me. Their expressions, once serene, were now pleading. I paused in front of a new painting, one I hadn't seen before. The girl was young, beautiful, her mouth slightly parted like she wanted to scream. It smelled wrong, like rust and something sweet rotting underneath. I reached out despite myself. The canvas felt soft. A lock of real hair fluttered to the ground. The painted skin peeled at my touch, wet, red, and warm. I screamed. Then Kurt was there.
Where are you going, Jess? Your portrait isn't finished.
I turned and ran. I slipped through the nearest door, not caring where it led. All I knew was that I had to get away from Kurt. Every cell in my body screamed that something about him was dangerously wrong. The room was littered with scraps of fabric, but they weren't just ordinary cloth. They had fallen from what was left of bodies. I looked down and saw her, a girl my age, her eyes wide open and unblinking. Her skin had been peeled away in strips, revealing raw muscle and exposed bone. Beside her, her hair was tied neatly in a ribbon, like a prop. Realization crashed over me, shattering every illusion I'd held dear. Kurt hadn't simply immortalized beauty on canvas. He trapped it cruelly within layers of paint, flesh, and agony. All those silent, beautiful girls, forever frozen, were now masterpieces on his walls. Kurt stepped into the room, holding a knife and a sewing needle. He walked to the body and began to work, gently applying her flesh to a canvas, humming as if lost in thought.
She was lovely, but you, Jess, you'll be the masterpiece.
He looked at me with admiration, not malice, as if he truly believed what he said.
You should feel honored to be remembered forever, to never fade.
I backed away, hands shaking. My scream rose and was swallowed by the thick, silent walls. No one knew I was here. No one would come looking. Paradise Island was a graveyard, and soon I'd be another face on the wall, watching, forever silent, forever pleading. Run. While you still can. Mukbang was everywhere. Everyone was doing it. Every time I opened YouTube, someone was stuffing food into their mouth like they were on a timer. The louder the slurping, the more views. I figured if they could do it, I could too. I set the lights, curated a pastel aesthetic, a table full of noodles, mochi, chicken wings, sauce dripping like blood. Then, reality hit. I didn't even make it through 1/5 of the spread. My stomach clenched. I vomited midstream. No one watched. No one cared. That night, I realized something cruel and honest. Normal doesn't trend anymore. People don't follow you because you're good. They follow you because you're memorable, weird, uncomfortable, unforgettable. So I pivoted to makeup. Beauty content always had loyal eyes. I wasn't a guru, but I knew enough. Contour tricks, dewy foundation, liner wings sharp enough to kill. I started going live, trying looks, doing get ready with me, whispering affirmations with fake confidence. And then it happened. In the middle of one stream, while demonstrating a serum dropper, a drop slipped past my lips. It tasted like perfume and ammonia. I gagged, my face twisted in revulsion. The comments exploded. They called it iconic, chaotic energy, too real. I didn't expect it to go viral, but the next day, the clip had over 600,000 views. People shared it, memed it, reenacted it. She ate the glow. Me accidentally eating shampoo as a kid. For the first time in my life, I was trending. PR packages started arriving. Lipsticks, masks, foundation sticks, perfume oils. Brands asked me to unbox, to review, to smile prettier. I felt like I'd made it. But fame is like sugar on the tongue. Sweet, fast, and then gone. A week later, views tanked again. The brands moved on. The inbox went dry. I paced my tiny apartment, eyes twitching from caffeine and ring light glare. I needed to be shocking again. I needed something grotesquely beautiful. What if I combined mukbang with makeup? The first time was rough. I applied blush, posed for the camera, and bit into the compact. The powder crumbled in my teeth, dry and bitter like old chalk. My tongue went numb. My throat itched. I forced a smile. It smells good. I lied. So it must taste good, right? I edited it to perfection. Bright filters, jazz music, kawaii overlays. Then I uploaded. Next morning, 2.7 million views. People were horrified and obsessed. Some mocked me. Some called me mentally ill. But others thought I was faking it. It's just candy shaped like makeup. She's trolling. No way she actually ate that. The crunch sound is edited. They thought I was a liar, so I decided to prove them wrong. I scheduled a live stream. Real makeup mukbang, nothing fake. Watch me eat. I arranged the table like a banquet from hell. A lip gloss charcuterie. Sheet masks folded like crepes. Serum-filled wine glasses. Cotton pads soaked in toner, stacked like macarons. The viewers flooded in. 20k viewers, 50k, 90k. I raised a lipstick to my mouth, bit down. The wax snapped like bone. Bitter oil filled my mouth. I chewed slowly, staring straight into the lens. Comments flew by. She's actually doing it. WTF. Art? This is art. The more I ate, the easier it got. I found textures I liked. Glossy, velvety, crumbly. There was something deeply satisfying about it, like I was feeding a hunger I never knew existed. My body didn't like it, not at first. I got dizzy. My tongue swelled. My stomach felt like it was lined with fire. But I didn't stop, because the numbers kept rising. I was finally being seen. The brands dropped me, of course. Some sent cease and desists. Others ghosted me. But new people found me. Dark corners of the web that celebrated extremity. They dared me to go further. Drink setting spray. Eat a face mask whole. Let's see you swallow glitter. And I did. Every time. Soon, I couldn't go a day without it. Off camera, I snacked on powder compacts. I kept a pallet by my bedside like comfort food. My skin turned raw. Red patches crept up my neck. My eyes leaked. I scratched until I bled, but I covered it up. With more makeup. Always more makeup. For my magnum opus, I planned the beauty banquet. I spent days curating it, baking foundation into cookies, melting lipstick into sauces, turning mascara into syrup. I lit candles, adjusted the camera, scheduled the live stream. When I went live, 100,000 people joined within minutes. The chat screamed. Some were terrified. Some were mesmerized. I was high on validation. I bit into a sponge. It tasted like heaven. My throat tingled. My chest bloomed with warmth. I kept eating. Then, I noticed the rash. Tiny red dots swelling into blisters. My skin was bubbling. My neck looked like boiling wax. Comments flooded. Is this makeup or disease? Filter? No filter? Turn off the stream. But I couldn't stop. I was so close to hitting 1 million live views. So I smiled, teeth smeared with glitter, and swallowed another mask. Then it hit. My throat clenched, like fingers inside me twisting. I couldn't breathe. My vision spiraled. I reached for water, but my arm didn't respond. It just dangled, twitching, like a broken puppet. I collapsed, face first into the table of cosmetics. My cheek burst open on the corner of an eyeliner tube. Blood mixed with blush. The comments kept flowing. Is this performance art? OMG, she's actually dying. Call someone. But no one did. Now I live in fragments, in clips, in sound bites, in every girl who thinks a little glitter in her soup might be cute. You think I'm gone? I'm not. I'm in your algorithm, in every viral makeup prank, in every beauty challenge that goes just a little too far. So next time someone eats something for laughs, next time you watch and say, she's just faking it, remember me, because I wasn't faking. And once you let attention inside, it never stops eating.